Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wealth Frequency event. Today, I have a really special guest on with us, Oliver Villwock. He is a strategic advisor and mentor for world-class facilitators, entrepreneurs, and spiritual creators ready to build soul-aligned empires with clarity, power, and precision. As a former fintech sales director turned full-time spiritual practitioner, Oliver blends deep inner work with a light business design, merging identity work, human design, and category of one business architecture to help visionaries create high profit, high freedom companies. Oliver's clients include private equity operators, global CEOs, facilitators, healers, and creators who want to grow their impact without compromising their well-being, power, or soul. And his approach has helped founders scale into top-performing teams, scale from 6 to 7 figures, build multi-six-figure companies from scratch, close 6 and 7 figure deals, raise millions in funding, fulfill childhood dreams, and rekindle their marriages. He brings a unique blend of grounded strategy, energetic precision, and soul alignment, helping individuals build unique businesses and lives that feel authentic, powerful, and deeply aligned with who they truly are. And today we are talking about how soul-led facilitators can command high-ticket pricing while keeping their honor and integrity. So, Oliver, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ashwaya. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so good to have you. So I love that we're talking about this because, a lot of people want to sell high ticket, but they can feel like there's a lot of blocks to that. So first, I want to talk about your own experience because you actually went from, charging like donation based to like multi-figure, five-figure rates. So can you just tell us a little bit about your experience with this?
Absolutely. I found this topic also really, really fascinating. And at some point, I just got a bit obsessed, like I looked at, for example, different products of all kinds of different items, watches, for example, cars. And if you look at watches, for example, and you look at the most expensive watch in the world, the price that it sells for is more than 300,000 times the price of a watch that does basically the same thing that you would buy from the supermarket, yeah, like for 20 bucks or something like this. And I just got so fascinated, and I was like, wow, what is happening here? Yeah, because somehow this high-priced watch manages to create such value for people that they are willing and happy to pay this kind of a price tag for it. And this has been with me for quite a long time. When I was still working in sales, I was closing some of the biggest deals that we had in the company back at that point. And then later it went into the business that I'm building now and that I'm active in now that you described so beautifully. Um, my own journey, indeed, when I started this, I didn't do it to make money. It was a sharing for my community. I wanted to give something back. I had very deep experiences and I wanted to share from that overflow. And I started just offering something for free. And then people asked me if I would take donations. Then I took some donations. And it developed like this really step by step. But at some point, I started again to have this fascination with this question of how can I provide even more value to the people so that they wire me 5 figures and they do it with gratitude and happiness, and it changes their life in profound and beautiful ways. And then starts this process of refinement, yeah, and making something very, very beautiful. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today.
Yes, definitely. And I know that I can resonate with your story, and I know many others can resonate as well with your story as well. So, why do you think that spiritual and soul-led creators often underprice their work, or they feel that when they want to make that shift to charging, higher prices, that they feel all kinds of things. So, what
Mhm.
do you think is going on?
So, in my experience, there's a few quite specific components, and later we'll walk together through an exercise where we really look at all the different components that I see in the work I do with my clients and myself, where we can really filter out how to build a price, not only based on gut feeling and so on, but we can really, almost in a kind of mathematical approach, see the different components that together create a high ticket offering. And as I see it, most people that I work with, they're struggling in one of these dimensions that we're going to be looking at together later on in this exercise. For example, they don't truly fully understand the transformation that they are delivering. Yeah, it's like still a little bit, and it's also beautiful. It's still like a magical thing. What do you do? And then they're kind of like, whew, yeah, I'm like this healer and quantum guide, and I do these activations, and it aligns your chakras, and yeah, we can like this. And it's also very beautiful. Yeah, comes from a pure heart. And at the same time, if we don't understand what our work shifts for people, what is the actual transformation that somebody experiences, it will be very hard to get behind a high ticket offering because we cannot truly, like, we don't own, okay, this is going to revolutionize whatever, how you, for example, this will support you to increase your prices. Yeah, this is what we're speaking about here now with great confidence. I can really get behind that because almost all of my clients have experienced this and they manage to find a way to hold this with honor and integrity. So I can fully get behind that, and that gives me the internal confidence and the conviction when somebody experiences this that it has a certain value. Yeah? For somebody else, maybe it supports with womb healing or allowing a woman to become pregnant who before was struggling. But many times people don't fully understand this impact that they're having. And this is one of the components. Later we'll look at the other ones. Yeah, but when we understand this, we can figure out, okay, what is the homework that I need to do in order to be able to get behind my pricing?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you made that mindset shift or just that shift, energetic shift, strategic shift to going from donation based to charging high ticket, what do you think like changed within you and how
Mhm.
you saw your work?
Yeah, I really started to see that this is actually providing great value to people, what I was doing,
Mhm.
and that it was good also for people to invest in themselves in this way because it allowed them to affirm and to really take a powerful choice to step into this work and to really be all in with their own self instead of, yeah, I'm coming, but then the moment gets difficult, I'm like 1 foot out. Yeah, like this kind of mentality, which I think we see a lot nowadays, where
Mhm.
it's there's not fully committing to the process. And then I structured something that would allow people to take a commitment and allow people to really say yes to themselves and to their work and so on. Um, and do it also in a beautiful format. We can talk about this in a moment. But
Mhm.
this, I feel, taking also my own work seriously, taking seriously what it was delivering for people, yeah, and then building a temple around that. We can see it like this.
Yeah, and then when you started charging high ticket, did you feel resistance in yourself and others, or did you kind of like work through that before you started charging high ticket?
No, definitely, I felt the resistance, and also this, I think, is a quite beautiful exploration. I actually hired a mentor back then because I felt like, okay, this is how you do it. Yeah, I want to go into this really high-end segments. I'm gonna hire somebody who's there,
Hmm.
and I hired a mentor back then for 15,000 euro for 2 months, which for me was kind of like it was a big deal back in the day, and I was waiting for her to reveal to me the secret code. Yeah, okay, this is the code, how to crack the high ticket and how to fully stand in that. And then basically, if we were to distill this into one essential teaching this time, it was essentially just do it.
Okay.
Like this was basically the teaching.
Yeah.
And I didn't resonate with it.
Mm.
And I hired this mentor and I'm grateful for the work. I still learned a lot and so on. But I never fully bought into that. And I felt like, wow, this is somehow very flat. And for me, I feel like there's more to that. There must be more to than just do it, kind of just, leap into the unknown. And that sparked this whole exploration that we're speaking about also here today, because I do see that there's more to be done than just do it. There's a whole, yeah, there are different components that we really have to look at. And this took me quite a while. This was maybe like 3 years ago or something like this that I had this mentor. And afterwards, I was still dancing quite a bit with pricing and so on. And only this year, I kind of hit this goal that I had set back then 3 years ago to charge a certain amount for my work. And now it's kind of come. But also something I saw in myself and I see also in my clients, there's a point when this price increase is not anymore something that we don't have to push ourselves so hard into, where it's like everything is trembling, yeah, and we're like, ah, now I'm doing this thing, and we're so much in our resistance. It's also a sign that certain aspects are just not clear for us that we are invited to integrate first, so that the price increase at some point feels like a very natural thing. It feels very easy and very, it's almost like a, yeah, it just happens almost. Yeah, we don't need so hard to push ourselves so much. This is my experience at least.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's kind of with every big shift as well. Like once you do the work and you integrate stuff, it just naturally happens. Like we don't have to push ourselves. And yeah, the just do it is not gonna work for anyone listening. So
That's right.
so I love that we're breaking this down.
Hmm.
So yeah, we are going to be experiencing the pure power pricing formula very soon in about 10 minutes, but just a few more questions before we get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so someone might be in an industry of like, say, a healer or a creative, and maybe they're not around other people that are doing this kind of thing. This is why events like this are great because we can, meet community. But they might think, how do I get like, is there a premium client for what I do?
Hmm.
How do I like, they might be struggling with that aspect. So how can someone clarify if they have a true premium client out there for them? Or can they create one, like a creator
Hmm.
package?
Yeah, so I feel there's always it's like this mandala of life, yeah, like this lotus flower of existence with the fractals. You even have it so beautifully behind you for those who are watching the video. And you have this beautiful mandala there behind your head. It's this, we move deeper into existence, and we experience this also in meditation and ceremony. And it just keeps rippling open, yeah, with those beautiful geometries. And we can go ever deeper into that presence, into that beauty, and it just keeps rippling open. And I feel it's the same really in everything. It's all fractals and flowers, yeah, and beautiful mandalas. So definitely anything that we can create in different degrees of refinement. And we can make out of the most simple thing, we can make something so, so beautiful. And that's not to say that the simple thing isn't beautiful, it's just a matter of what are we called into. But if you look into a Michelin star cuisine, for example, some of those restaurants are making very simple dishes, yeah, from the home countries of the chef, for example, what they ate in their childhood, and it's like a street food. But then they find a way to make that really, really refined and tell a beautiful story around it, and to hold a clear frequency standard for it, a clear energy, a clear energetic, to know who they're addressing. And suddenly it's this thing that people pay, like $500 or 500 euros to experience. And with the yeah, I see this really actually in every industry possible. It's a matter of what do we want. If we want to play this game of refinement, if we're drawn to it, if we want to, like this, create something that conveys a story also like this, or not. And if not, it's also good. Yeah, not everybody has to charge high ticket. For some people, it's good to make low ticket offers and to go really wide. That's also beautiful. Yeah, but to those listening, probably you're drawn to the high ticket, so then it's also beautiful to refine.
Yeah. And of course, it is a process to create, another offer, which is high ticket. But people also might be thinking, like, I'm offering as much as I can. Maybe they're doing one-to-ones or donation based or whatever. And they're thinking, I'm offering as much as I can. I'm offering all of me. So if
Hmm.
I was to now charge more, like, I don't have anything more to give. So, and it's interesting because you're talking about creating refinement and creating beauty. But can that person still create high ticket? And if so, what would they like? What's the kind of mindset when they feel like that?
Yes. Yeah, it's a beautiful question. For me, it's about precision in the delivery. Yeah, like again, if we look into what is the key transformation that you bring for a client, first of all, it's good to understand this. And I would invite everybody and anybody who doesn't know or who feels a bit uncertain to do the work and write down all the names of all the clients that you can remember, like everyone. Make a whole page full of your names if you have it, and then reflect on really the specific, tangible changes that have happened for each of these people and write it down. This would be my recommendation so that we can start to find patterns. We can move into pattern recognition. What is it that people get out of working with me? And then, in order to charge higher, it's not necessarily that we have to travel there and wash their dishes and make, like kind of
Yeah.
do even more, give even more of our time. It's rather about doing the same thing, but then finding how we can do this even more precisely. So, how can we increase the certainty of people having this kind of result? How can we tell the story better? How can we make the experience more rich of having this result? And there are so many ways where we can be very creative. Um, and yeah, in a moment we'll talk about the formula. And there's also, of course, a component of our own inner friction, which we also have to deal with and integrate. Our own resistance to charging, to receiving, our own sense of unworthiness, which also plays into this whole piece. Yeah? And there's also, of course, an inner work to be done. So I don't know if that answered your question. It was a bit of a kind of outlook on, again, different perspectives.
No, it did answer the question because it's again, it's not we can give everything, that we're doing, but also we need to be really clear on what the client is getting, like you said, and then we need to create a program that directly communicates that and creates those results. So yes, completely get it. So you also have a free gift, which is content that pierces the end of vanilla posts, the beginning of transmission. Could you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about that free gift?
So this is a kind of diagnostic tool that I built, which it's a diagnostic that focuses on content creation. So for everybody who's a creator in your audience, who's writing content and so on, or making reels, all these things, to diagnose within our writing where we might not fully stand in our power and therefore block more conversions. Basically, it's a map of the chakras, and in this system, I'm using a seven chakra system, and mapping on each of the energy centers the kind of common blocks that people experience and how that reflects in the writing that they put out, so that we can see, wow, actually, yeah, this is what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling to really convey, let's say, a real deep felt embodied sense, where people can really feel what I'm writing about. They can feel the desire that I'm speaking to. Well, that's most likely something just in the second chakra that's not being fully expressed in the content. Yes, so this diagnostic gives you the tools to do a self-check and see where you can bring yourself even more fully into your business, into your creations, to convert better, to make more money, but also to have more fun, yeah, and to build something that really stands out in a sea of AI-generated fluff.
Yeah, I love that because it's blending, content creation with the chakra system. So that's so unique. So the link for that is down below, as well as Oliver's website and Instagram as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and now over to you, Oliver, for the pure power pricing formula.
Perfect. So this formula we have already spoken about now a little bit in the context of our conversation. And the idea here really is to give also a really clear and precise tool for you to understand what needs more work in your business, where more clarity is invited, so that you can increase your prices with confidence and conviction and integrity and honor. So in my experience, price is really a function of a few different things. Um, Firstly, and I'm going to map them out now here for you, and then we'll do the kind of self-diagnosis of these different elements. Firstly, it's a function of the transformation that we deliver. And we already spoke about this now quite a bit with Ashwaya. It's to really understand what it is that our clients experience. A good rule of thumb is that the price that we can charge for what we deliver can be around about 10% of the value that somebody experiences by working with us. Now, I know this is a very, yeah, like this is open to a lot of interpretation, but it's a nice rule of thumb. For example, if you allow somebody to make 100,000 euro through your work, for example, then charging 10,000 for that would be uh, yeah, a very easy way. It would be kind of very straightforward for you to be paid that much. Now, what is the value of supporting somebody to overcome a health condition? That's for you to tune into and to feel into. Yeah, what would be the monetary value of this, or whatever is the work that you are facilitating? But so it starts with the value of the transformation. Yeah, that's the first corner piece. The second one is the certainty of this transformation. Because if you, for example, and I'm using now one example, but you can tailor this to your own offering. If you help somebody to make 1 million euros, just as an example, but it only works once out of 10 people, yeah, for example, then of course that's a different kind of certainty than knowing that it works for everybody that works with you. Yeah, everybody who works with you makes 1 million euros if they show up fully and so on. And this certainty, of course, reflects in your pricing, yeah, because the less risk there is in somebody to work with you, the more deeply embodied you can stand in the high price and know, like, okay, if you show up fully to this program, it's going to change your life. Now, when you can say that, that's a very good point to be in. When it's like, okay, you show up fully to the program and maybe you'll get results, it starts to get more wobbly. So that's the second component, the certainty. The third component is what I call structural depth. So let's assume you know the transformation that you deliver and you deliver it with great certainty. Now the question is still how beautifully, how deeply you deliver this. If we look again at this example of the Michelin star restaurant, yeah, you come in there, you have this beautiful food, all the beautiful aromas, and then what do? They come to your table and before they serve you the first starter, they will tell you the story of how the host was a little girl, let's say the chef, and then when she was growing up, her grandmother used to go out into the forest and forage for mushrooms and then come back, and they would have this beautiful experience every Sunday, and the dog was playing in the kitchen, whatever, in Romania. Yeah. So, and you as the one visiting the restaurant, you can really feel it and you can really, like you really sink yourself into the depth of what is being delivered. So this is the third component. If it's just kind of like a clinical thing that you do, or if it's a real, like an experience that somebody will remember for the rest of their lives. And there are so many ways to make it special. To make it really special, you could, and I've done many things with my clients, you could send them, if you do rituals, for example, maybe you send them a beautiful ritual kit before the ritual starts with sacred items and a beautiful contemplation and something for them to hang into their room and something to sit with and yeah, and then working with practices, journaling prompts, music, a very high-end private trainer, for example, a very high-end PT might fly to see the client. Yeah, there are PTs who charge more than 100,000 to be working with them. They fly to their clients and they suddenly stand in front of the door, 5 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, open the door, go to the fridge, throw away all the stuff that's not good for the client, and take them to work out. So it's a very deep experience. It's very yes, and this matters, of course. So, transformation, certainty, and structural depth. These are the structural components of your offering. And understanding this well and with precision will allow you to offer this again with integrity and honor. There's a fourth component that I mentioned already briefly in our conversation, which is what I call the power factor. And this really has to do with you, with internal frictions or internal flow. Topics of unworthiness, confidence, standing within yourself, resting within your own being, allowing yourself to receive. Because we can have an amazing offer, we can have all these three things dialed in, but then if we have a subtle tendency of not allowing ourselves to receive, or somehow some kind of self-castigation, self-punishment, then we might just block ourselves from receiving that. And when it comes to it, we'll be wobbling somehow about speaking it, second guessing ourselves, and we fall off the train. So this is an inner work. The content that pierces, for example, can help with this kind of exploration. But all these four components, they are in relation with each other. So if we write the formula, it would be price equals, I hope you don't get scared now with formulas, yeah, but transformation times certainty. So if the certainty is 100%, then it's the value of the transformation is very important, times structural depth, again expressed as a percentage, and then times this power factor, which we can also express as a percentage. How clean can you express this within your own being without sabotaging yourself, yeah, in the process? So these are the four components. Now, if you want to increase your prices, my invitation for you will be to look at the four components and see which of the four needs the most work. And I would recommend to just focus on one. Just do one. Yeah? Pick one. For example, certainty. And then you sit with it and you really reflect, okay, what am I delivering now to my clients? How does the work? What can I do so that the client has a higher certainty of getting the results that they want? And then just really think about that, really sit with this. And there are so many beautiful ways. Yeah? There can be accountability checks. There can be, I did this sometimes, daily checks with clients. I did this in one or two cases. There can be different practices that you bring in. In my work, I'm working with an amazing hypnotist, for example, who, when somebody signs up to work with me, they also get my hypnotist as a part of the support team. Why? Because I saw that certain internal topics needed more work than I could provide by myself. So I wanted to increase the certainty, and I was reflecting, how can I do it? Yeah, now I have the hypnotist. So I send my clients to sit with my hypnotist and deal with some of the things that are coming up. I have also a vocal coach in my team and things like this. Yeah? So reflect, make it beautiful. Yeah, make it and increase that certainty. Or yeah, look at the other component that for you feel can use more, can use a bit more love. Yeah? If it's the depth, okay. Yeah, how can we tell this story better? How can we make this into a more beautiful arc? You can write handwritten notes to your clients. You can make invocations custom for your clients. You can do so many things. I work a lot with human design with my clients. So just in between, when I have a bit of white space during the day and I don't have something urgent coming up, I might just be sitting with the chart of my client, reflecting on their business, and I might just send them a 10-minute contemplation on how a specific aspect of their chart is reflecting in this next stage of their evolution, or a contemplation on a gene key, on their pearl gene key, how to open to wealth, for example. Again, yeah, this is very, very creative and very individual depending on your product and what you are delivering. But this can also be a very beautiful contemplation. How can you bring more depth into the offering? And if the power factor is where you see a struggle, then it's also good to be working with this as well. Content that pierces can help with it. You can even send me a message. I also have another tool that can also work with this specifically, which is also for free. So that can also be a good option. You can connect with me directly. And yeah, this is kind of like a short overview of this formula. I hope that it supports you in getting really clarity about how to do this and how to do it well. And maybe just as a final point on this, the people who I have worked with, who have gone through this process, have seen beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things happening in their business, in their lives. I was just now a few days ago with a facilitator who used to charge 80 euro per sessions, and now we're selling together. We just sold a 20,000 euro retreat ticket for him with a custom retreat that he's offering. He made an offer for 55,000 euro for one of his packages, and the clients are loving it because they're getting all this depth, all these different components. He's loving it, obviously. So it's like this win, win, win for everyone.
Oliver, thank you so much. That was such a powerful training. That's really practical and people can actually, put into their work or what they're doing right now. So thank you for that. As mentioned, Oliver's Instagram website, the free gift is all down below. And I also want to mention that you have a course as well, an offering, which is the Kingmaker or Queenmaker profiles. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Correct. So this is a very beautiful process, especially for those of you who are already a little bit further ahead in the journey. Maybe you're already running a six-figure company, maybe seven-figure, or maybe you're five-figure, but you're already feeling quite established. This is a custom profile that I make for my clients, which takes a deep look into your business positioning. I really sit with the way that you're writing, with your offers, with the whole architecture of your business. And then I overlay this information with your human design and with your gene keys to figure out what are the inner shifts that want to happen so that you can build your soul aligned empire. Yeah. Like your individuated path in order to grow with more scale and more ease by really honoring your gifts.
Mhm.
And I make this profile for you. It's a 15-page document, very in-depth, that gives a view on business that you cannot find anywhere else. I've never seen this before. It's a very, very unique way to really, really get clear on the next steps in your business. And I'm selling two of these a month because I have quite a bit of work with them. And if you're interested, you can book yours through the link. It's 555 euro at the moment. It will go up at some point next year, but at the moment, that's what it is. And then if you want to move into private mentorship, you can deduce that investment from the total cost.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Oliver, for being here with us today.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you for the invitation and blessings for everyone.